Well, I mean, it's not. If you think about television networks, for example, let's take Netflix. Netflix has some very family-friendly material, and they have some material that's definitely R-rated. So,
Yes.
I mean, if you if you're presenting material, all you can do is present your material.
That's right. And there's just FYI, there's another movie company called Pure Flix, and it is very family friendly. And I met up with those people at the National Religious Broadcasters. And in fact, the guy that has sold a film to Pure Flix, I think I told you about this, he and I are talking about doing a film
It'd be great.
based on the Low Country. So it's all, and that's a very good company too. But you're right, on Netflix you can and categorize and filter, and so you really anymore, you are so right. If you need to be true to you, and I've learned that instead of trying to be all things to all people, because people, Al, the way it is now, people don't want to think too hard. They want to think Jeannie Robertson, clean, funny, left brain. I mean, those are the words that come into your head.
I mean, there's an old humorist by the name of Grady Nutt, and Grady Nutt said that laughter is God's hand on the shoulder of a troubled world. And that's right. I mean, why do we want to be entertained? Because the world is troubled. We want to forget about those troubles for a while.
That's right.
We want God's hand on the shoulder of the trouble. So that's the reason why we have entertainment. And so, and there are different brands that are associated with that. So,
and then, what is the old saying too? And it's hard to hear this because you wonder, tragedy plus time equals comedy.
Right.
And I know that because I'm in this little tiny town of Johnston, and Thomas is with New York Life and shares his office with the funeral home, and I call it New York Life or Death. I mean, the funeral home is right to my left. So I like to talk to Betty, and she's in her 90s, and she recently has retired from funeralizing, believe it or not. And so I will ask her stuff about funerals, and I'll say, well, tell me what you've been doing, when she was actually more active. And she said, oh, I had this is funny. I had a funeral with a blended family, and all the stepchildren just loved their stepmother. They all got along beautifully. And we were in this little old Baptist church down in Ward, South Carolina. And I opened the casket for the final viewing, and one of the stepchildren's cell phone ringtone went off. It was her favorite song from her favorite musical. She said, can you imagine? The casket is open, and all of a sudden everybody in the church hears, ding dong, the witch is dead. Witch, oh witch, the wicked witch. Ding dong, the wicked witch is dead. So I said, Betty, what did you do? Now here's where her sense of humor comes through. Because she said she went up to the sweet child at the burial, and she said, honey, I know you're so embarrassed. Are you okay? And she said, oh, if I only had a brain, straight from the Wizard of Oz. So when you can take situations like that and diffuse it with humor, it just gets down into your ability to see comedy, lighten up, have some levity. And I think Jeannie taught me that. There's so many of us that miss her example of how to take common things and fluff it up a little bit. I talked to Lou Heckler, was another one of my guests, but he's brilliant at that. And just to add some flavor to it and just polish the bit and deliver it, check it out with friends. We talked about that with, who did I speak with? Tony. Tony said, oh yeah, Jeannie would check it out with people. And I don't know, when I'm flying sometimes and people know what I do, and I'll be sitting by a stranger, that's the best audience. And I'll say something and they'll say, oh, you're checking out a bit on me, aren't you? And I went, yeah.